Up+Adam.
Tractor systems are offline.
We are Beyond FM.
Beyond FM.
The future of broadcasting is here.
Up+Adam with Adam Montiel. It's community content from Concentrate. It's Up+Adam with Adam Montiel.
Some say life is where it begins. Straight to the stars is where it ends. Yes, some say life is just where it begins. Straight to the stars is where it ends. Only to start again.
Smack dab middle of the week, Wednesday, baby. Hump day in SoCal. Let's go. Thank you for being Up+Adam. My name is Adam Montiel. This was actually the final, the last interview we recorded at the Tamber Lobro Studios. From here on out, because we heard yesterday, that was the first interview in the new studios, in the SoCal studios. This, the final one. Now, there is a moment in every entrepreneur's life where the thing they're building stops being a business and it starts becoming really a reflection of who they are. And for Ben Arona, that journey didn't start with a full restaurant or a packed patio. It started with a bootstrap kitchen, Facebook posts selling pizzas one by one, and long days that started at 7 a.m., ended with him washing dishes, every single one of them himself. Well, now, Benny's Pizza is one of SoCal's most distinctive spots. Detroit-style pizza, a social club vibe, a community gathering place, and a business that runs both on heart and hard numbers. Later in the show, Ben is going to join us to talk about the reality of entrepreneurship, the risks, the routines, the break-ins, the pressure, and the moment that you realize this thing you built, it's bigger than you ever imagined. Super excited. I've been a big fan of Ben for a long time. As soon as she started making pizzas, years and years and years before Benny's Pizza was even a thing, I've been a big fan of his pizzas. I'm like, damn, no, dude knows what he's doing. So I'm excited to have him on here. This is going to be a two-parter too. Super stoked. We can do a lot of fun. It's a fun conversation. All right, a couple little pieces of news here, little headlines. If you've driven into Paso on Lene Road lately and thought, why does that massive ass neighborhood look like it's just frozen in time? Well, you are not crazy. One of the biggest housing projects in all of San Luis Obispo County, we're talking the Olson Chandler Ranch build out, has basically hit the brakes, and hard. Construction at the Reserve at Venedo, dead stop. 4 months, no movement. And the reason, well, money, or specifically no money. The developer, STG Partners LLC, ran into some financing issues back around November, told the city they'd refinance by April, and now that's not looking like it's happening. And here's where it gets real. Local contractors are getting crushed. One company alone, hired to frame about 230 homes, is still owed about $1.3 million on an $8 million contract. And that gap forced layoffs. 45 people had to be told, look, we don't have the money to keep you on. It happened right around Christmas. Brutal. And the homes that did get started, well, they're just sitting there like exposed. We're talking wood frames out there, and the weather we've been having starting to warp. Mold is now in the conversation of becoming a real issue. Who wants to move into a house or have a house built around and over that? Meaning whenever this does restart, it's not just going to be a pickup where we left off. It's going to be like repair, redo, even more money. Now, if you zoom out for a second, this entire project is supposed to be nearly 1,300 homes. It's a big project. Only about 200 are done, another 200 in progress. But this phase, roughly 200 more units, they're just kind of stuck in limbo. City officials say they're working with the developer. They even fenced the whole thing off to prevent vandalism. But bottom line, until financing shows up, nothing moves. Here's the kicker. Contractors still have to finish the job. Contractually, they got to. But they're basically saying not another nail goes in until we get paid, right? So right now I've got this high-profile project sitting right at the gateway into Paso, half-built, weather-beaten, financially tangled up, and questions no longer when it will be done, It's kind of more like, does the money come through before the damage financially and physically gets even worse? It's a pretty wild story, right? All right. This one, not a story locally, but just a crazy, like, hell no, never on vacation. Never would I do this. I don't know. But I guess these are popular. This is straight out of a nightmare that you didn't even know that you had yet. A German tourist on vacation in Egypt is dead after a cobra slithered into his pants during a hotel snake show. What the hell is a hotel snake show? This went down at a resort in Hurghada. Hope I'm saying that correctly. We've actually made the charts. This show has made the charts in Egypt as recently as like a couple weeks ago. So who knows? So I say this with all due respect. A snake charmer was putting on a show for guests, doing what they do, walking through the crowd and letting people like handle the cobras. Like, just stop right there. Just stop right there. I mean, handling the cobras. If you're on vacation in Egypt and dude comes up to you saying, handle the cobra, there's just no way. And we all know, look, I'm not saying I'm a snake expert and I don't know what they look like. I mean, I got bit by a garter snake and it's like, okay, well, I was a kid and little snake, but there's some snakes, you know what they look like, you know, like red on black, friend of Jack, something yellow, kill a fella. Like there's certain snakes, like I'm just not even going to get near. If it's got a little, like, you know, some jewelry on the back end of it, it's going, I'm staying away. I'm staying away. And if you got that flat ass neck that like comes out, like we've all seen I've seen Karate Kid. I know what the Cobra Kai Do, the gi looks like. If you a cobra, there ain't no way I'm getting near that, touching it, even having it near me. Well, this guy's walking around the show, handling them and letting other folks touch them, handle them, wrap themselves around, like drape them around their necks for pictures, you know, vacation stuff. What? So this guy, this poor guy, 57 years old from Germany, there with his fam, just trying to enjoy the show. Somewhere in the middle of all this, one of the cobras slips on down into his pants. Can you even imagine? Like I mean, look, no matter who you are, what you identify as, right? Like, but I'm telling you, a snake going down your pants, you're a dude. Like that is this ultimate nightmare situation. And this thing, it does exactly what he is probably worried that this snake is about to do. Bites him in the leg. Don't be nasty. Bites him in the leg just like that. He immediately starts showing signs of like poisoning. Collapses, has to be resuscitated. He's rushed off to an Egyptian hospital. I'm sure that's awesome. And despite all of that, he does not make it, unfortunately. Now authorities in both Germany and Egypt are investigating, like what happened. Toxicology is still pending. And here's the part that might surprise you. The snake charmer, not currently under investigation. Like, what? Meanwhile, just for some context, the World Health Organization says between 81,000 and 138,000 people die every year from snake bites globally. Not sure how many of those are in situations like this, but let's be real. Most of us don't think that number includes a cobra in your pants on vacation. So I don't know. Next time there's a hands-on snake experience at the resort, yeah, maybe just check it out from the back row. Stand in the back. Man. Before we get into our chat with Ben Arona from Benny's Pizza, I want to tell you about my friends at the Mountain Air in San Luis Obispo, right there on Marsh Street. They've helped generations, literally generations of people. The store's been around since 1975. Help folks, locals, get outside at all skill levels, hiking, camping, climbing, whether you're headed to the snow. They've got you down pat. They'll take care of you. If you want to rent a sleeping pad, or I want to rent a Yeti cooler, because I sure as hell can't afford one. Boom, there you go. They also got a couple doors down their store, the Switchback. Check it out. This is cool. If you want to like dip your toes into a new sport, or maybe you got some gear that you don't fit in or you can't use anymore for whatever reason, That's where they buy and sell used gear. Yeah, so your stuff gets another run, someone else gets their shot. This is what local love is all about. I love what Josh and Lindsay are doing over there. Josh and Lindsay Herring, they're the sweetest, most adorable couple. If you haven't heard my interview with them, it was just so rad. Love them both. Make sure you stop by, or even if on your phone right now, why don't you just go follow them, The Mountain Air, on Instagram, and show them a follow. Say, hey, heard about you on Up and Adam. Next time I need some gear, I'm on my way in. Just let them know that you see them, because they definitely see you when you walk in there. TheMountainair.com. Also, TheSwitchback.com. Mountain Air, San Luis Obispo.
It's Up and Adam with Adam Montiel.
All right, so there's a place here in town you already probably know. It's one of those spots that you don't even just go to eat. You go, you sit, you hang, you look up, and somehow an hour has gone by. It's got its own rhythm, its own crowd, and if you're not there, the only thing we're missing is you. Its own kind of energy that really doesn't try too hard, it just is. And what's interesting about places like that, they don't just happen by accident. There's always somebody, a soul behind it. Somebody who's had a very specific way that they wanted it to feel, even before it was full, even before they probably even knew what it was. And in this case, that somebody was making dough 7 a.m. in the morning, selling pizzas on Facebook. I mean, shoot, before it was out of his side yard, figuring it out in real time. Then COVID happened to goes to a kitchen. So we're going to pull back the story. Ben Arona, Benny himself, from Benny's Pizza Palace and Social Club. What up, my man? Thank you so much for being Up and Adam.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
I'm excited to have you on board. I'm excited that we're in here. Because we talked a little for Restaurant Month, but I'm excited to really strip it down. I've been so, we've been friends, but I've been excited to kind of peel the layers back from your entrepreneurial spirit, your, having a business here in SLO, a restaurant, popular pizza joint. And it feels like in every entrepreneur's life, there's like a moment where, in your case, a pizza spot, it stops being a pizza spot and it kind of encompasses the spirit of the person who owns it. But I feel like with you, it always had that. I mean, this from whether it was the underground days back in the day, this was just threaded with you all throughout.
Yeah, definitely. Bring back some good memories, because the old days was a commercial kitchen that I built. And that was just bootstrapping it, right? I think I spent $20,000 on used equipment. I got the lease for a good deal, and I just went, with really, I had a vision, to eventually sell Benny's Pizza out of there, but, it was a commercial kitchen to rent, and just how different it is, right? It was an old Papa John's, right?
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
That's
so it had
funny.
that very commercialized, chain store pizza place.
Right.
That's how Benny's was born.
Was it kind of the perfect spot to do it at?
It was the perfect spot. Yeah. Low overhead, easily accessible. There's a parking lot there, right? People show up, they could eat outside. It was really cool. But going from that, and even I was there, right? Of course I was there, but my personality was there with the whole, literally when I started selling Benny's, when I the transformation from my house selling Benny's to friends.
Okay, so we can't talk about that.
We can't talk about that.
What am I allowed to bring up? Because I remember going to your side yard and
Yeah, I know. Is there a statute of limitations on that, on whatever crime I committed? No, so going from that to selling at Benny's, I remember my first couple weeks, it was just me. I was there 7 a.m. making dough. Then I would take a break and sell the pizzas online on Facebook. Remember, I'd make a post to be I'm selling pizzas, and people would have to message me on Facebook.
Crazy.
Yeah.
But it was wild, because oftentimes people struggle with Facebook virality, and because it was so underground, maybe COVID helped. It was just bursting at the seams.
Yeah, it absolutely was COVID. COVID was horrendous for a lot of people. It was really good for me. So I'm very grateful and fortunate for that. But yeah, no, definitely. But I remember, I would make the pizza, I'd make the dough in the morning, I'd make the sauce, I would sell the pizzas, take a break for a couple hours, come back, make the pizzas, give the pizzas to the people, ring the people up. Then I would wash all the dishes myself.
Oh my gosh.
I remember thinking oh my gosh, I'm going to die.
Yeah. But from starting underground, and it was very smart that you did this. And I even saw, and who knows, maybe they took a page from your book with my friend Mike's when they first got popularity, the times.
Yeah.
Hey, look, if everyone just wants a pizza when they want it, I'm going to lose my mind.
Yeah.
But if you're like, okay, you're 6:45, you're 7:15, whatever it is, you can divide it out.
Yeah.
It makes it like, okay, I know what I'm doing, when I'm doing it, and the customer gets better service, and you don't lose your mind.
Yeah, for sure. And that's what the system that I incorporated was the time slots. And when it was by myself, there were time slots. And it was like 2 pizzas per time slot, right?
Yeah.
And then slowly I bring on an employee. And then it'd be 4 pizzas. I'll bring, and by the end of it, I think I had like 5 or 6 employees. I had a cashier. I had me kind of like being the captain of the ship.
Right.
Then I had, people topping the pizzas. I was training Jackson back then, who still works for me, how to cook the pizzas. But I did all the cooking up until like the last 6 months in that kitchen. And it was really cool, So it was just this really cool spirit, and everyone's having a good time. But without, going back to the time slots, I remember going from 2 to 4, and then by the end of it, I was 15 pizzas per time slot.
Oh my gosh.
So, I really like I'm a multitasker, and I think I'm pretty decent at it, right? And so I wanted to squeeze that was my true capitalist right there.
Yeah.
Trying to squeeze as many pizzas as I could in that time slot.
Sure.
Right. So by the end of it, I was selling 150 pizzas a day.
Wow.
Yeah, and I don't know if you remember, we introduced cheesy sticks. My good friend Jean, she's like, you need to sell, just cheese pizza type kind of thing with no sauce, cheesy sticks. She gave me that idea. It's even a bestseller at Benny's today. But do you remember the lasagnas? I introduced lasagnas, just kind of like, I'm going to use this sauce for lasagna because I do. And then I was selling, what was it? I integrated into my program weekly where I was making something like 50 lasagnas a week, and I was selling out of lasagnas per week, right? So I was selling 150 pizzas a day, 3 days a week, and then 50 lasagnas a day, frozen lasagnas. So it was just pumping and pumping and pumping.
The lasagnas are seriously gold.
Yeah.
They're so good. And they're so big.
Yeah.
And you go, considering like what they cost, you might go, oh damn, that's expensive for well, it's not just tonight's dinner, dude.
Yeah.
It's like dinner for the next and they're great gifts if like someone like my friend in Paso had a baby.
Yeah.
Perfect gift. We had a friend on our street we lived only far from each other, but who just had a baby. Audrey's like, I'm gonna go grab one of Benny's lasagnas.
Yeah.
I mean, they're such great gifts when my family is coming into town, and maybe we'll go out to dinner one night, but we're gonna do some at the house. Boom, lasagna. Yeah. It's so awesome, and they taste. Everyone who eats it is like, oh my god, what's going on with this lasagna?
Yeah.
Sauce is bomb.
Yeah. And I remember when I first told people online, I'm going to be using my marinara sauce from the pizza on the lasagna, and there's pushback from certain people, not everybody.
Yeah, you
can't do that. And it's like, well, watch me.
Yeah,
and it's just and that's the same sauce I use now at the restaurant for the meatballs, for spaghetti. So and that's also for me like if I'm going to sell something like a chicken sandwich, a chicken pesto that we have there. I'm going to need to use the pesto in at least 1 or 2 other things, and the chicken in at least another 1 or 2 different things, right? So like my sauce, I just use it everywhere. So I'm not having one item for I'm not making a special sauce for the lasagna.
How painstaking was dialing in that recipe? How many times has it changed over the years?
The sauce recipe has not changed at all since I opened. So, I've told the story a million times. My good friend Will Crosby, he was a brewer at Firestone for years, and he taught me how to make this pizza. He'd always have pizza parties at his house, and it's like, Will, you need to teach me. So he taught me, right? And that was back in the mid 2000s, right? And so I perfected that sauce on my own, and it's different than his version of the sauce. So it's my own brand, a little spicier, and so a good 15 years of me perfecting the sauce.
Wow.
And then when it hit, I remember, not so much anymore, but people would be like, oh, this is too spicy, or my kids won't eat it because it's too spicy. And it's just kind of like, well, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Why Detroit style pizza for you?
I've always loved deep dish, and I love Chicago style, and I still do make that for fun at home.
Do you?
I make I'll make you one of these days. And maybe another project down the road, I'll just do Chicago or something, It's more labor intensive. You have to, a lot of butter is used, but it's so good. Like a cornmeal crust. It's, anyway, to die for. I love that pizza. And I just love deep dish in general. I think Detroit really reminds me of the old Pizza Hut, kind of the thick, like the pan pizza is a thicker crust. And so I just love that, a bacon, it's being baked in oil. So essentially it's frying the dough as it's rising. And Detroit, just everything matched up for me, the sauce on top, the pan fried in olive oil dough, the 1.5 inch thick crust, so it's just loved it.
Was it ever like fingers crossed that it resonates, that people buy into it? Or did you always know, I love this, there's no reason people aren't going to like this?
Yeah. So yes, of course. And, growing up in SLO, I remember there was a place, they tore it down and built Hotel SLO. It was in Chinatown, downtown. Mm-hmm. It's called Palindromes. He did Chicago style. And I don't know why he went out of business. This was like 30 years ago, right? And, just the wait times, stuff like that. I think people weren't used to it, but we're in the land of California style pizza, or like Mike's does so well. It's thin crust. That's the fabulous pizza, by the way. Mike's a great friend of mine. We support each other,
sure, like
wholeheartedly. But there was kind of is this going to work? But I was super confident, and also you just pay attention to the market. There's nothing like that here. Nothing, there's no exposure to that here. So I introduced it and people loved it.
How long do they take to make? Because now you're right. Now pizza has taken this evolution where you got this oven, which was like 600, 800, 900 degrees. You put a pizza in there for 2-3 minutes and it's done. You can turn and burn quick. How long do one of these take to make? What's the prep like in the restaurant?
So, the whole process is different. Most good pizza places will what's called bulk ferment their dough. So as one way or another, they're gonna put the refrigerator to slow down the rise and get that sourdoughy taste. It's gonna rise better. It's gonna form better air pockets, right? So my process is every 3 days I have my dough guy come in early in the morning. He comes in at 5 a.m. That's his decision, not mine. But I love it. He's there by himself. He has the whole kitchen to himself. He makes about 150 to 200 doughs. And the process that he does is he makes a couple big batches. We have a big 60-quart mixer that we actually bought from the Graduate when they were closing.
No way.
It's kind of fun for me that that spirit lives on, right? Yeah. That oven was bought brand new in 1982 or something.
The wet T-shirt contest, that thing is seen.
Yeah.
The Graduate was such a trip.
And also the ovens, our deck ovens are from the Graduate. So I'm really happy that that tradition gets to live on through Benny's, right? Another local inspired business. So our Caesar will make the dough in the morning, and it's a double rise process. So he makes a batch, and then he puts them into ball. He weighs them and puts them in balls and lets them rise for 2 hours. After that rise, and this is where my pizza is super unique, or Detroit style is super unique, but the way that I do it. And then we have our steel pans, and I have 200 of them for the classics. I have 150 babies. So it's an investment just buying the pans itself, right? Stacks and stacks of pans. And so then we olive oil the pan, stick the dough that's been rising for 2 hours in dough boxes, put that into the olive oil, mix it around top and bottom, and then flatten it out. So we're degassing is what you call it, and I'm telling the dough where to go in the pan, right? And it's elasticy then, so you'll tell it where to go, but then it'll come back to the ball shape.
Interesting.
Right? And then what we do is we put them back in the dough boxes in the pan, and then wheel the dough boxes into the refrigerator, and we date them, and then we rotate them. So by the time, if we're super busy, they may be sitting there for 2 days. The average is 2 to 3 days they sit in the refrigerator. So that's bulk fermenting. So they get that, when you open the dough box up, it smells like sourdoughy.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good. And it just makes it fluffier.
Right.
Like I said, the more air bubbles. Right, better taste. Uh-huh. So that's our process, and we rotate through them. So when we're ready to cook doughs that day, I'll show up in the morning. Every morning I'm there. I was telling you that earlier. I'll turn on the ovens. I'll go in there and I'll set up for the staff because they don't come until a little bit later. And I'll put aside, how many doughs I think that they need for the day shift. Like 30, 40 classics or 20, 30 classics, like 15, 20 babies, right? And then I wheel them out, and then we let them rise for another 3 to 4 hours until they're room temp. Then they're ready to go.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's quite the process.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
And then we've talked before during Restaurant Month about sauce on bottom, sauce on top. Super interesting. And most people, do they tell you to switch it up? Or
Old school people know what's up.
Yeah.
It's clear on our menu. We have signs actually up front that says, top or bottom.
Right.
Yeah. You have to read the sign. Actually, it's the verbiage is a little different.
Yeah.
But so what I mean when I say that is, and this is also a debate. You go to some Detroit style pizza places in Detroit, and they put sauce on top. They're called like racing stripes on top, right? And the reason why I do it at Benny's that way, and I didn't start that way, but I evolved to that, is that when you're getting a pizza like the GDB, or you're getting like a really intensive topping pizza,
lots of meat, lots of things that'll sweat.
It all sweats. Lots of veggies, they all sweat, right? And so if you put the sauce underneath all the veggies, right, it's going to weigh the dough down, so it doesn't rise properly in the oven. It doesn't develop properly. So then you'll get people saying, no, it's raw or it's undercooked, when it's not. It's just not, it didn't cook like it should have, but it's still safe to eat, And so we started just, like a GDB, we'll put everything there. It's still a lot of stuff. Then the whole thing rises evenly and beautiful.
Just perfect.
Then you put the sauce on top. And the sauce is being kept at very warm temperature in a little double boiler, So the sauce goes on piping hot.
Yeah.
Right. Now, you always can. I personally like it on bottom. So, and what's also special about our pizza is, you take a normal pizza, like any fill in the blank spot here in town, a thin crust, round pizza. They'll get the dough out, they'll shape it, and then they'll put the sauce on, then they'll put the cheese on. So we're different. We always put the cheese on the sides to get that caramelized sides. Then we put the cheese on the dough, and we have cube cheese. It comes from a company called Grande. It's beautiful cheese. Comes from Wisconsin. It's like the stuff you want to be using. And then we put the veggies, then we bake it. Now, if you want the sauce on the bottom, we still do the cheese, and the cheese is still going to be on the bottom. Then sauce, then toppings.
Got it.
So it's still even a little bit different. But I still do that on occasion. Sauce on bottom. And the old school people will come in and say, I want the sauce on the bottom. So
that's so interesting.
And it's still like we have to talk about this because there are still old school people. They're like, oh, when you switch to sauce on top, we don't come in anymore. I'm like, no, but you can. There's an option. You go online. It's or you come in. There's an option for sauce on bottom. So
I want to talk about having a business because entrepreneurship. It sounds sexy until it's 2 a.m. Numbers aren't working. You're questioning a lot. What's a moment maybe behind the scenes, somewhere in this process, where something no customer would ever see, where you genuinely were like, God, is this going to pan out? No pun intended.
No. When we first started in the new location, when we moved to the new location, we hadn't quite set up our camera system yet. Our alarm system was there, but it was still kind of old school. We had this, and when you go to the restaurant, you'll see this. The old Pepe Delgado's in the bar room, they had these 2 beautiful windows, right? And we kept one of them. It's still there that faces Monterey Street. But there was one that faced the patio area. We removed that. We put in this beautiful, very expensive, window system, right, with a door to go to the back patio. And somebody had broken in. They crowbarred the door open, totally destroyed the door. And broke in, and someone had left a money bag out, so they saw it and they went and took it. And luckily, the alarm was going off, so they only took that. Then they jammed. They didn't get to steal anything else. But I remember getting a phone call at 3 a.m. from the police department, right? And my phone's on Do Not Disturb, right? It's kind of like a mental health thing for me,
for
right?
sure.
And the police called me until it came through, because I think if you call so many times, it comes through.
Right.
And they're like, hey, someone broke in. You need to come down. And I'm just like, my eyes are bloodshot red. I can only imagine what the cops were thinking when I rolled in there.
Oh, man.
And they're like, "Yeah, do you have your, we need video of the place." I'm like, "Fuck." Like we were like 2 months in, we didn't have the video set up yet.
Yeah.
The typical stuff where like you want to be all set up, but it's just, it doesn't always happen that way, right? And so I remember just thinking like, man, is this how it's going to be? It costs like $3,000 to fix the door. And then it's like, oh, claim insurance. No, don't claim insurance because then your rates are going to go up.
Right.
So, there's been a few moments like that where it's the reality of it is very overwhelming. A lot of people, it's really funny. A lot of people will be like, oh, someone needs to open this kind of restaurant and I'll go there. And it's like, okay, cool. Like we hear you, us entrepreneurs hear you. It's like, but the startup for a restaurant or like the monthly, right? Like my place is $70,000 a month to keep the doors open, And so our margins are 5, 7, 8%, profit. And so it takes a lot. So
not for the faint of heart.
And so when you're paying a $2,500 PG&E bill per month, oh yeah, that's when you're serious.
What if you flip to the other side? Because there are restaurants and then there are places people choose to stay. Where time kind of melts a little bit. When you designed the patio, the vibe, you even called it a social club. Like it being a place to gather was always at the forefront of your heart's desire for this.
Yeah, 1,000,000%. So the building, I remember when, I founded the company on my own in 2020, did the commercial kitchen. I did so great, right? And with some of that money that I made, I was able to move it forward, right? And so I brought on 2 partners. I brought on 2 investors, right? And then we formed these corporations that then moved in, bought the building off of Yvonne, who owned Pepe Delgado's. I'm a historian also, right? A lot of people don't know that I teach at Cuesta College. I've been there for 10 years now. And I just love the history of that building. Like my mother worked there for like 6 months in the 70s and I grew up going there. I remember when I turned 21, everyone knows about the margaritas.
Oh my God, right. Yeah.
So, but just the heritage, the culture, my grandfather came from Mexico. So I have that in my blood. Right. And so Yvonne, it was really cool. She had these portraits made. And when you go in the restaurant, I kept them. Like you have to keep them. Right. And it's her like in front of the mission or it's her being serenaded or one of them's her making tortillas, but it's her and people don't realize that. That's Yvonne. Right.
Oh, wow.
And so I decided to keep those. And the place for me, it's so big. If you've ever been in there, like there could be 150 people in there and you're like, oh, like where is everybody? It's not quite that big, but you get what I'm saying. I knew that we wanted a patio. We wanted, I'm a huge dog person. I was like, I love dogs. There were plenty of room for kids to run around and the chalk on the ground and play. So it's like, you know what? There's so many things I can do with this space. Right. And so I reached out to all of my customers from the commercial kitchen. I said, I lived in New York for 4 years. I went to graduate school there. So I had an East Coast vibe in my mind, along with this blend of this like Spanish colonial, Mexican vibe. And this is awesome. So I reached out to my customers and said, hey guys, bring in photos of yourself, black and white in gold frames, and I'll put it up. And so when you walk in, right, you walk past the foyer and you walk in, and a lot of the old wrought iron is still there, and some of the old booths are there from Pepe's because you can't replace that, right? And it makes a unique space. All of my old customers are up there, hundreds of them. I think you're up there somewhere.
So cool.
Right? Then you walk into the bar, and the bar room, that was like me. I was like, I'm redesigning this entire room, put up wainscoting. I made it a very East Coast vibe, right? Put up the gaudy wallpaper, the custom paintings of myself.
So good.
You have to go to
I
see
love
it.
it.
My dogs. And so that's a space within itself. And then so I really like this space. It kind of transforms from this like big family dining area into this bar area, then into the patio, right? And it's just a community space. And so that's what I always envisioned it. I've held academic lecture series there before because, of course, I'm in academics, but then it's also a space for people to gather. so countless birthday parties, retirement parties, like I'm in a Rotary. We had a big party there. Rehearsal dinners.
I gathered with elected officials as, local election results came in,
Yes.
Pretty cool. It's pretty
hosting
cool.
an election party there, so it's really, and then also we have music at least once or twice a week in the bar room. Right. So it's really evolved into this community space where I want everyone to, and it's all different walks of life, which I really love. Like, some restaurants, like you feel out of place if you're dressed a certain way. Benny's, you get the whole gambit. You get construction workers in there. You get elected officials. You get, all walks of life.
Yeah.
So that's, yeah.
And I want to kind of go from gathering to gathering and happy hour, because I love what you just said there, because it's not just about like cheaper drinks. It's about catching people at that exact moment of their exhale of the day.
Yeah.
Whether they're in a suit coming out of the courthouse, or like you said, it's that construction worker. What is the experience you really want someone to have walking into Benny's at 5:15 on a random Wednesday? I know you do it every day, 4:30 to 6:30.
Yeah, so we actually just started doing happy hour Monday through Friday, 4:30 to 6:30, and for me, I was at a house party randomly for Halloween this last year, and some girl was just talking. I didn't even bring it up. She didn't even know that I was Benny. She was talking to her friend. We're in the same circle. She's like, "Benny's the most underrated bar in SLO. I love it. I love the feel. I love the vibe. I love everything." So like this happy hour idea popped up. Pepe's used to run an awesome happy hour, and I think people knew that. Like it was just known, right? People were kind of, "Benny, when are you going to do a happy hour?" Like for the last 4 or 5 years. Like, I don't know. I'm not really into it. Then I looked around. No one really does a happy hour, right? There's like a handful of places. And I remember growing up. Do you remember growing up? Like that was our parents. Like that was their thing. The happy hour is like the thing that you did in the 80s and 90s. And it kind of went away. So I'm like, no, I want to bring this back, right? I want someone to, and there's so many places right around Benny's where it's like, you can come just right after work, get a drink. It's going to be a good deal. Hang out on the patio, or sit in the bar lounge, which is really inviting and comfortable. Maybe watch some sports on TV for a hot second before you have to go over the grade or wherever you're going. Right?
Yeah.
So it's just, it's something I wanted to do for so long, and I'm so excited that I'm finally doing it.
And more than just cheap prices on domestics or, beer and wine sales. We got some food specials.
Yeah. So, we have a baby cheesy stick special, right, for $10. If anyone's ever had the cheesy sticks, we were talking about that earlier. It's just like such a awesome, such a nice snack.
Yeah.
Right. It's not going to ruin dinner. You could save half of it for breakfast tomorrow or whatever you want to do. We have French fries and Mojos at happy hour price, $5, And if anyone's ever had the Mojos, I tried to find the Mojos like at Shakey's, because Benny's is definitely the nostalgia of Shakey's really kind of
good call.
Shaped a lot, with the red cups and
love the red cups,
pebble ice and all that
my
stuff.
God, you're like reading my diary.
Yeah.
Love that shit, dude. The pebbled ice.
Yeah.
There's nothing better than a soda in a red pizza cup with pebbled ice.
Yeah. Like a Dr. Pepper.
Oh my God.
Or like a Barks root beer. Uh-huh. Yeah, we have both.
Dude, it's so good.
Yeah.
I want to see if will you let me buy one of those red cups off you?
You know what?
You should sell them.
I'm having a hard time getting them.
Are you?
I think that people like them so much they take
They're
them.
jacking it. Remember when Moscow Mules became the shit a while back?
Oh, yeah.
And like you have to give your ID because people were jacking the copper cups.
Yep.
It's unfair. This is why we can't have nice things.
Yep.
Some say life is where it begins. Straight to the stars is where it ends. Only to start again.
I love it. Great chat. Part 2 is even more fun. We just off the rails part 2. That's going to come up. So I can't wait to share that with you. All the links for Benny's Pizza in the show notes, of course. And that interview will always mean a lot because that was the final interview of our time at the Timbre Lowbro Studios. Everything since recorded has been in the new SLOCAL Studios, which I'm super excited. So definitely a chapter to close, but it's an exciting one to open. And I will always love and thank our friends Josh and Shiasa Clapper from, first of all, to have a studio at like one of your favorite wineries? Come on, like stop it. It's like you're reading my diary. Their wines are so good. You can taste them in the village of Arroyo Grande. Timbre. Yes, it's pronounced timbre, timbrewinery.com. Also, want to thank my friends at Moonshiner Collective, original music on the show called Start Again. Check them out on Spotify, wherever you get your music, they're there. Also, you can go to moonshinercollective.com for the latest on how to find them, book them, see them, this or that. New music, their new EP came out a couple months ago, so check them out. All right, want to let you know before we get out of here, the Olive and Lavender Festival, that's happening Saturday, May-9th, completely free, downtown City Park, Paso. It took two festivals, the Olive Festival and the Lavender Festival, and just crunched them together, and a big, brilliant festival popped out called the Olive and Lavender Festival. I know, what are the chances? It's a lot of fun. Again, completely free, 9 to 4, Saturday, May 9th, the Olive and Lavender Festival, downtown Paso. All right, till tomorrow, when it will be Thursday. We're moving through this week. Gorgeous outside. Have a great day. Thanks for rating, reviewing, subscribing to the show wherever you are listening to it. It means a ton. I'm Adam Montiel. Appreciate you so much. Thank you for being Up and Adam.
Some say life's where it begins. Straight to the stars is where it ends. Only to start again. Let's start again. We'll start again. Let's start again.